I asked the cards, who actually started this? And what's coming through is one main person, not a group decision, one individual. The Gaslight card tells me this person's primary skill is distortion. They don't attack directly. They rearrange what happened so other people see a twisted version. They take a real event, change small details, shift the context, and suddenly you're the problem in a story you didn't even know was being told. 25-hour power. This person put more hours into this than a normal person would. This wasn't a passing comment or one bad night. They were persistent. They kept going. They maintained this over time like it was a project. That's not emotion. That's dedication to doing damage. The pill organizer tells me they were organized about it. They didn't just lash out randomly. They chose who to talk to, when to talk to them, what version of the story to give each person. Different doses for different people. Some got the full version, some got just enough to turn them against you. The followers, most of them received a carefully measured version. They didn't all hear the same story. That's important. That means if the followers ever compare notes, the contradictions will be obvious. When did this actually start? Before you knew. That's the hard part. Pinocchio and the bullshit artist appearing together. That's not one lie. That's a lie that was told, and then someone built a performance around it. The first card is the original false statement. The second card is the person who took that lie and turned it into a whole narrative, added emotion to it, made it entertaining, made it feel believable. What I'm sensing is this. Something real happened. Maybe a conversation, maybe a situation, maybe something you said or did that was completely normal. And this person reframed it. They pulled it out of context. They may have added details that didn't exist. And once that reframed version started circulating, other people added their own interpretations on top. The pierced red object. Something that mattered to you emotionally was specifically targeted. This wasn't random gossip. Whatever lie was told, it was aimed at something personal, something connected to your heart, your emotional life, your vulnerability. They knew where to aim. Now, where did this take place? Passports and road trip together. I'm seeing distance. This wasn't all happening in one room. Information was traveling between locations, maybe between different cities, different social circles, or different online spaces. The story moved. It was carried from one group to another like luggage. The catfish card is specific. Someone involved was not who they appeared to be. This could show up as a fake account, a misleading profile, someone using a different name, or, and this is what I feel more strongly, someone presenting themselves to you as a friend, as an ally, as someone safe, while their actual intention was to gather information and carry it back. So picture this. Someone is close to you, maybe checking in on you, maybe having casual conversations, and everything you share is being reported back to someone else. That's what catfish next to passports looks like. The information had a passport. It was traveling, and the person carrying it was wearing a mask. This wasn't one location. This was a network. Here's what I'm picking up. There were at least 2 separate groups receiving information. Passports showing up twice in this reading. That's not just travel. That's separate worlds. Your private information crossed a border. Something you said in one space was delivered into a completely different space where you had no control over how it landed. Road trip. The information didn't just leak once. It kept moving. This was ongoing. New pieces kept being added to the journey. Someone would get a new detail, a new screenshot, a new reaction from you, and it would get passed along. The trip didn't stop. And with catfish reinforcing, the person who collected this information may have done it through what felt like genuine closeness, maybe emotional conversations, maybe someone who seemed to care about your situation and asked questions that felt supportive but were actually extraction. Are you okay? What happened? Tell me everything. And then everything you told them became material. The most likely real-life version. a private conversation repeated without context, a screenshot shared between groups, a reaction you had, maybe frustration, maybe hurt, maybe anger, presented as evidence that you're the unstable one. Why you? This is where it gets personal. The broken bed. This is intimate. Something broke in a close relationship. This could be romantic, it could be a deep friendship, but something that was once shared became damaged, and the damage wasn't mutual. One side felt rejected. One side felt replaced. One side felt like they lost access to something they believed they were entitled to. Browsing history. They were watching you. After that break happened, they didn't move on. They monitored your social media, your activity, your connections. They were keeping tabs on what you were doing, who you were talking to, how you were living. This card doesn't show casual curiosity. It shows someone going through your digital life looking for reasons to feel hurt or angry. Giant foot. The goal was to make you feel small, to crush your confidence. Not because you did something wrong, but because your existence after the break was unbearable to them. You kept going. You kept living, and that was the offense. They couldn't control you, and they couldn't stand watching you be fine without them. So the motive isn't just jealousy in a vague sense. It's jealousy of your ability to move forward. They felt left behind, and instead of dealing with that privately, they recruited people to help them punish you for it. The taser. Someone deliberately provoked you, not by accident, not through misunderstanding. They poked at you specifically to get a reaction. And when you reacted, maybe you got angry, maybe you defended yourself, maybe you said something sharp, that reaction was collected. It became proof. See how they behave? See what kind of person they are? The provocation was the setup. Your response was the evidence they wanted. Too many cats. Too many people got involved. What started between maybe 2 or 3 people spread wider than it should have. People who had no direct connection to the original situation started having opinions, started participating. Some joined because they were given a convincing story. Some joined because they were afraid. If they didn't pick a side, they'd become the next target. Underground hole. There were hidden conversations. Things happening beneath the surface you were never meant to see. Private groups, deleted threads, conversations that were specifically kept away from you. The planning happened underground. And the vomiting Cupid. This is the one that turns my stomach. Love or attraction was weaponized. Someone used romantic interest, emotional closeness, or the appearance of caring as a tool. And then it was thrown up, rejected, mocked, or turned into humiliation. Whether someone pretended to have feelings to get close to you, or whether a real emotional moment was twisted into a joke for the group, something that should have been sacred was made into something ugly. The roles I'm seeing: the instigator who organized it, the collector who gathered your words, the messenger who carried information between groups, the provoker who poked you for reactions, a few followers who joined out of fear, and at least one person who stayed quiet, who watched it happen and said nothing but knows the truth. Here's what's coming for them. And I want to be clear, this is what the cards are showing, not what I'm wishing on anyone. Money net. Something is going to catch them. A net is closing. This could manifest as a financial consequence, an opportunity lost, a deal that falls through, money that dries up, but more than that, it's about being caught. A net doesn't punish, it traps. They're going to find themselves stuck in something they can't talk their way out of. The microdoser. The consequences won't be one dramatic event. They'll be small, repeated doses. A little bit of doubt from one person, a little distance from another, a small loss here, a missed opportunity there. Each one on its own seems minor, but they accumulate. And the instigator, who is used to controlling everything, is going to start feeling the ground shift without being able to point to one specific cause. Remote control. They're going to lose the ability to control the narrative. Right now, they still feel like they're holding the remote. They decide what story gets told, who believes what, who's in and who's out. That remote is about to stop working. The people they've been controlling are going to stop responding to the buttons. The sequence I'm seeing: the instigator starts noticing people aren't reacting the way they used to. Then one follower pulls back. Then the contradictions in the story start surfacing. Then practical consequences follow, something involving money, reputation, or position. It's not a single explosion, it's erosion. The deleter. Right now, as we're sitting here, someone is cleaning up, deleting messages, clearing chat history, adjusting their version of events. They can feel that something is shifting, and they're trying to remove the trail. That tells me they know what they did was wrong. You don't delete things you're proud of. The magician. Someone in this situation is still performing, still creating illusions, still making people see what they want them to see. But here's what the cards suggest. The magic is wearing off. The illusion only holds when nobody questions it, and someone is about to start questioning. Mom. A mother figure, an older woman, a protective presence. Someone with natural authority, not the kind that comes from intimidation, but the kind that comes from genuinely caring. This woman is going to step into the situation. She may already sense something is off. When she gets involved, the dynamic changes because she's not going to accept the performance. She's going to ask direct questions and expect real answers. The truth comes out not through one big reveal, but through accumulation. A deleted message that someone already saved, a story that doesn't match another story. The quiet witness I mentioned earlier, they may be the one who finally speaks. And once one thread is pulled, the rest unravels. Now let me walk you through the timing. I pulled 5 cards specifically for this, and I want to give you the sequence more than the exact dates, because the sequence is what the cards are clearest about. First, Page of Cups. This is the earliest sign. An emotional message arrives. A young person or someone emotionally immature reaches out. Maybe an apology, maybe a nervous confession, maybe just a strange message that doesn't quite make sense yet. It may feel small, but it's the first crack in the wall. Based on this card, I'd say within 1 to 4 weeks. The page is young energy. It comes early. Second, the Emperor. An authority figure enters the picture. A boss, a parent, an older man, someone with structural power. This person makes a decision or sets a boundary that the instigator can't override. The number 4 is connected to this card, whether that's 4 weeks, 4 days after the first sign, or something else connected to the number 4. What matters is someone with real authority draws a line. Third, 7 of Wands. Confrontation. Someone stands their ground. This might be you. This might be the quiet witness who's had enough. But someone faces the group and says, no, this is what actually happened. The energy of this card is defensive. Someone standing on a hill, fighting off challenges from below. It's not easy, but they hold their position. 7 energy suggests this could be around 7 weeks or the 7th occurrence of something. Fourth, 10 of Wands. This is the breaking point. Someone carrying the lie gets exhausted. 10 Wands is the heaviest load in the deck. They've been maintaining the story, managing the contradictions, keeping people in line, and they just can't do it anymore. This is when mistakes happen. A contradicted statement, a confession made out of sheer fatigue, a detail that slips because they're too tired to keep track. Fifth, 8 of Cups. Someone walks away. They turn their back on the group, the situation, the instigator. This is an emotional departure. Not anger, not confrontation, just quiet withdrawal. I'm done. This could be a former close ally of the instigator, someone who was loyal but finally sees clearly. 8 energy, possibly 8 weeks, the number 8, or August as a month. That's your reading. The cards are showing me someone who was targeted not because of anything they did, but because of what they represented to someone who couldn't handle their own feelings. That person built a machine around their resentment, recruited people, managed the story, controlled the information. And right now, that machine is starting to break down. You don't need to force anything. You don't need to confront anyone right now. The process is already moving. What I tell you to watch for is that first message, the Page of Cups moment. When it comes, you'll know everything I told you today is tracking. Protect your energy, pay attention, and trust that what was done in the dark doesn't stay there. That's it.